Greetings, this is Brian Ewald from Paul Reed Smith Guitars and Stuff Music in Pittsburgh. And what I'm playing through here, we're gonna have a listen to, is the brand new Sonzera 50 watt combo amp. Sonzera is a new line of very affordable PRS amps. There's 3 in the line. There's a 20 watt combo, which is slightly smaller than this, with a few less features, which I'll talk about, and the 50 watt combo and a 50 watt, this exact 50 watt in a head form. So the feature-wise, the 50 watt has a little bit more just because it's a larger chassis. There's a little bit more real estate for them to fit some features in. So the 20 watt, 2 fully independent channels. The clean channel has a volume, bass, and a treble control. It really reacts and acts very much like a single channel amp from the 60s. Once you get to that volume around 4, it starts breaking up really nicely. Halfway up, it breaks up. The more you dig in, it really gives you a nice little bite and crunch. Anything beyond there, it really starts getting into a really cool low gain territory, which I love. The 20 just sounds great. Great gigging amp, great recording amp because there's a lot of sounds in that volume sweep. Beautiful sounding reverb. There's a master reverb and presence on the 20 watt. On the lead channel on the 20 watt, you have the addition of a mid-range control and a bright switch. And there's an input or drive level and then a master level. And again, those can be used in tandem to create a lot of different sounds. Once we get to the 50 watt, like we have here, there's an independent bright switch for each channel, which is very nice. Still a master presence control, which will always be a master control because that's in the power section. But another nice thing is you have a reverb control for each channel. So instead of having it set one way for the amp or an all or nothing kind of thing, you can really dial in the reverb how you want it for both your lead channel and clean channel. So I'm gonna go through and play the lead channel first, and then we'll go to the clean side. These amps are not just an import version of the 2-channel Customer Archon. It's a whole new voice. It was designed from the ground floor up. It really is much more of a vintage feeling and sounding amp. And in that, the master volume is not a transparent master volume. It will really change the sound as you go through the spectrum of the volume in a great way. To me, it just gives you a lot of extra tones and colorations. So the way it sounds, we barely have the amp turned on right now, but it's plenty loud, which he can attest to. The level control at this is plenty for playing around the house. You know, I've gigged with this amp quite a bit. I rarely get it past 3 or 4, and it sings at that. Once you get it halfway up, it's just huge, massive, and punchy, and just a ton of harmonic content. So again, it's gonna have a lot of sounds that we're not gonna get into here because I just don't want to blow this place up. On a custom 22 here with 5815 pickups on the bridge pickup. So here's the lead channel. There's obviously a lot of grit, a lot of harmonic chime in there, even at this level. I've got the drive halfway up. We can bring that down a little bit, and you can hear real nice chime to that. Like, you know, and even in lower gain settings, it's still just it retains a lot of punch and great rock, just gritty rock amp, but with a lot more gain on tap if you need it. I personally never really run it anywhere past halfway up. That's plenty for me. And what I also want to demo is even at that, with the gain at this point, I can roll the guitar volume back. And it cleans up beautifully. And that's even still on a bridge humbucker. I'm not even switching to single coils or anything. Really, you can control it well with your volume knob. Anything Paul makes is going to be like that because he's very much a a guitar plugged into an amp with a cable kind of guy. He likes to use the volume as his tonal coloration and channel switching. So beautiful sounding reverb circuit. I'm going to switch channels here. Go into the clean channel. Here we have a master and a volume control, and the way they interact can give you a lot of different voicing and coloration. I'm going to start off by turning the master volume all the way up and just using the input volume to control the level. Here, you're going to get the most headroom, clean headroom, running the master volume that high. I have the bright switch. I'll turn it on. Everything else, I'll just set at 12 o'clock. Beautiful, nice, round, warm sound. Even with the bright switch off, and I'll turn the presence and the treble down and darken it up a little bit. Be a beautiful jazz, like, hollow body would sound great into it. Bright switch back on. Actually, I'll leave the bright switch off. And now listen, another way to brighten up the amp if you want is if I run the master volume down and crank the input volume all the way up, it will break up in a great way, but it will also change the tonal coloration of the amp quite a bit. So if I bring the master volume up now, if you notice, this is with the bright switch off still. And you hear how much brighter the amp is now that the input volume is dying. And I'm going to keep this without hurting anybody's ears in here. But I'll show you, even with this, setting, if I dig into it, it's got a lot of grit and chime to it. Between the volume and the master volume, anywhere I put it, the higher this goes, the more breakup I get, and it also is brighter. This is a little warmer and cleaner headroom. You have a whole bunch of options in here depending on where you set this. So often if I'm on a gig and I'm using this, I kind of start with the input volume about halfway up, dial the master volume to the volume that I want. And if the amp isn't chiming the way I want, I push this volume up and just bring that back a little bit, and until I find kind of that brightness that I want and the breakup that I want. And, I can use these sparingly, but there's a lot of different sounds in this. I've been gigging with a prototype of this amp for about, off and on for a little over a year, but pretty steadily for about 6-7 months. And I have to say it's one of my favorite amps I've ever played. The 50 watt is beautiful for a gigging amp, recording amp. The 20 watt, still plenty loud, a slightly smaller box. A great price point. They're all under $1,000. I have really beat them up on the road as I've been requested to make sure that they hold up, and they have been rock solid. I've never had any issues with them failing on me. I can't say enough great things about it. Check out a Sonzera.